So today we're going to talk about something that touches millions of families, but honestly is still so misunderstood. We're talking about ADHD. We're going to get into what it really is, bust some of those common myths, and see how the right kind of support can help a child really unlock their amazing potential.
You know the scene, right? Your kid is incredibly bright. They come up with these amazing ideas, but there's the forgotten homework, the constant wiggling, and blurting out whatever's on their mind at exactly the wrong time. It's this daily puzzle that can make you feel so proud one minute and just completely stumped the next.
And right in the middle of all that confusion, the advice starts coming from all sides. A well-meaning teacher might say your child is lazy, or a relative might give you that look that just screams you need to be a stricter parent. You end up caught in this storm of opinions, just trying to figure out what's really going on.
But hang on a second. What if we've been looking at this all wrong? What if it's not about whose fault it is? What if it's not about blame at all, but about biology? What if that could change everything?
And this right here is the total game changer. We're shifting the conversation from bad behavior to the actual science of the brain. It's not a character flaw. It's about how that amazing brain is wired. And understanding that, that's the key that unlocks everything else.
Okay, so let's just cut through all the noise for a second. The myths are everywhere, right? It's bad parenting, the kid is spoiled, they're just being stubborn. But the science, the actual medical reality tells a completely different story. ADHD is a real neurological condition. It literally changes how the brain functions.
So, when we say ADHD, what are we actually talking about? Well, it's a neurological condition that impacts the brain's executive functions. You know, things like focus, impulse control, and getting organized. This isn't a choice. It's just a different way of experiencing and processing the world around them. And getting that is step one.
To really wrap our heads around ADHD, it's super helpful to look at its 3 core signs. When you break it down like this, the whole picture starts to make a lot more sense. So let's dive into the first one.
Okay, first up, inattention. Now this isn't your kid just being defiant. It's their brain being pulled in a million different directions all at once. It's why you see the half-finished drawing, the forgotten instructions from 5 minutes ago, and those "are you even listening to me" moments? Their focus isn't missing, it's just everywhere.
Next, we've got hyperactivity. And this is so much more than just being energetic. It's like a constant internal motor that's always running and needs an outlet. That's the tapping fingers, the bouncing leg under the table, the overwhelming urge to climb and run, even when they know they're not supposed to. It's a physical restlessness that's really hard to switch off.
And finally, there's impulsivity. The best way to think about this, it's like the brain's braking system is, well, a little faulty. It's what leads to blurting out answers in class, constantly interrupting conversations, and the absolute agony of having to wait for their turn. It's not about being rude, it's that the brain's go signal is just way louder than its stop signal.
Now, this part is super important. We all have moments where we're distracted or a little impulsive. Of course we do. But with ADHD, it's a constant pattern. We're talking about symptoms that show up again and again, are intense enough to cause real problems, and affect a child's life in different places, not just at home, but at school and with friends too.
This leads to the big question pretty much every parent asks. Is this just normal kid energy, or is it something else? It's a tough one, for sure. So let's break down some of the key differences. So think about it this way. A naturally active kid can usually pull it together when they need to. They can focus when something is really important, and their energy level might change depending on where they are, wild at the park but calmer at the library. With ADHD, those symptoms are much more consistent. The struggle to focus is real, even when they're trying their absolute hardest, and it shows up pretty much everywhere.
So at what point should you maybe think about talking to a professional? Well, here are a few key things to look for. The symptoms showed up before they were 12, they've been going on for more than 6 months, and they are clearly making things tough at school or with friends. If you're nodding along to that list, it might be a good idea to seek out some expert advice.
And this is maybe the most important thing I want you to hear today. Getting a diagnosis, it's not a label or a dead end. Not at all. It's the opposite. It's a starting point. It's the beginning of a path towards understanding, support, and helping a child learn to thrive, not in spite of their ADHD, but with it.
Now, there's no single magic bullet for ADHD. The best way to move forward is with a whole team approach. This usually means things like behavior strategies to build new skills, training for parents on how to create a supportive home, and working really closely with the school. And sometimes, with a doctor's guidance, medication can be an incredibly helpful tool in that toolbox.
And you know what? We have to talk about the flip side of this, because ADHD often comes with some incredible superpowers. Seriously.
We're talking about amazing, out-of-the-box thinking, intense creativity, and just seeing the world in a way that no one else does. With the right support, these strengths don't just emerge, they can really shine.
So, when you boil it all down, what does a child with ADHD really need from us? It's not more punishment, it's not stricter rules. What they need is our understanding, our patience, and a rock-solid system of support. That's what truly helps them not just get by, but to really, truly thrive.
So I'll just leave you with this thought to chew on. What if we stopped looking at ADHD as a deficit and started seeing it as a different kind of operating system? What if we focused on building a world that doesn't just tolerate, but actually celebrates neurodiversity and figures out how to harness the incredible, unique power of the ADHD brain? Just think about the possibilities.